Welcome back to Visa Pathway UK, where we bring you the latest immigration news and rule changes that could directly impact your future in the UK. Today, we're covering a huge development that has already sparked controversy across the country. The UK government has just expanded its Deport Now, Appeal Later policy, meaning that around 3,000 foreign nationals could now be deported from the UK before they've even had the chance to appeal their case in person. Instead, these migrants will have to fight their appeals from abroad, often through video links, while their families, jobs, and lives here are left in limbo. The Home Office says this change is about speeding up removals, cutting delays, and stopping criminals from abusing the system to stay in the UK. But critics argue it risks undermining the right to a fair hearing and could lead to wrongful deportations. So what exactly is this new rule? Who does it affect? And what does it mean for migrants already living in the UK? Let's break it all down. The policy at the center of today's debate is officially known as Deport First, Appeal Later. But it has now been expanded further under the new immigration enforcement rules in August 2025. Here's how it works. If a foreign national in the UK is convicted of certain crimes, the government no longer has to wait for their immigration appeal to be heard before deporting them. Instead, that person can now be removed from the UK first, and any appeal they lodge must be done from abroad. In other words, instead of sitting in the UK while waiting for a tribunal date, they could find themselves on a plane, and only then be given the chance to argue their case through video link or legal submissions from outside the country. The Home Office says this is about efficiency and closing loopholes. Officials argue that too many offenders have been using the appeals process as a way to drag out their stay in the UK, sometimes for years, even after being ordered to leave. Now, with this expansion, the system is designed to be much faster. The government expects around 3,000 people to be affected in the first year alone. But the big question is, does speeding things up come at the cost of justice? So, who exactly does this new expansion target? The policy applies to foreign nationals in the UK who have been convicted of crimes. These can include offenses that carry prison sentences, repeated criminal behavior, or cases where the Home Office deems someone a threat to public safety. The government has made it clear that this is not aimed at law-abiding migrants, students, or workers. Instead, it focuses specifically on those with criminal records. However, the reach of the policy is still significant. With the changes, around 3,000 people are expected to face fast-track deportation this year alone. There are some exemptions. For example, cases involving serious humanitarian concerns or where deportation could clearly breach human rights obligations. But for most, the reality is simple. Once convicted, you could be removed first and appeal only after you've left the UK. And that raises big questions about access to justice. So why has the UK government decided to push this through now? According to the Home Office, the goal is speed and efficiency. They argue that too many convicted foreign nationals have been using the lengthy appeals process to delay deportation for years, sometimes staying in the country long after their sentences are complete. Officials also say this puts pressure on the courts, on the immigration system, and even on public safety. By deporting first and forcing appeals to be made from abroad, ministers believe they can cut delays, free up prison space, and send a strong message that the UK will not tolerate abuse of its immigration laws. In their words, this is about restoring fairness to the system and putting British citizens first. The government is presenting it as part of a wider crackdown, linking it to their tougher stance on illegal migration, higher visa thresholds, and stricter sponsorship rules. But while they insist it's necessary, others believe it goes too far. Not everyone agrees with this new approach. Human rights groups and legal experts warn that Deport Now, Appeal Later could seriously undermine the right to a fair hearing. They argue that once someone is removed from the UK, it becomes much harder to access legal support, gather evidence, or properly defend themselves. Video links may be offered, but lawyers say it is no replacement for being present in court. Some MPs have also raised concerns. They fear that this policy could lead to wrongful removals, especially in complex cases where mistakes are made. Critics point out that immigration appeals are already challenging, and moving them overseas could mean people are denied the chance to fully fight their case. One campaign group said bluntly, "Justice delayed is justice denied, but justice denied abroad is no justice at all." So while the government insists this will strengthen the system, opponents believe it risks creating a two-tier justice process, one for British citizens and another weaker one for migrants. So what does this actually mean for migrants living in the UK right now? First, it's important to stress, if you are a law-abiding migrant, this policy does not affect your visa. Students, skilled workers, family visa holders, your status remains the same as long as you follow the rules. This expansion targets those with criminal convictions. If you are convicted of a serious crime while in the UK, the Home Office can now move to deport you immediately, even before your appeal is heard. That means you may have to challenge your deportation from outside the UK. For anyone in this position, getting legal advice as early as possible is essential. Having proper representation could make the difference between being unfairly removed or having your rights defended. For sponsors, employers, and universities, the message is also clear. The government is taking a tougher line than ever before on enforcement. So while most migrants won't be directly affected, this change shows just how much stricter and more uncompromising the UK immigration system has become in 2025. This expansion of the Deport Now, Appeal Later policy marks one of the most hard-hitting immigration changes of 2025. For the government, it's about speed, security, and protecting the system from abuse. But for campaigners and lawyers, it's a move that risks fairness, justice, and even the rights of vulnerable people. So what do you think? Should the UK be deporting people first and letting them appeal later, or does this policy go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you found this breakdown useful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Visa Pathway UK, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an immigration update. Disclaimer. This video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal or immigration advice. Rules and policies can change quickly, so always check the latest Home Office guidance or seek advice from a qualified immigration lawyer for your specific situation.